Hey friends, welcome back to Everything Journals. I'm Tara.
And I'm Steph.
So, in our last episode, we said we'd come back and share what journals we actually use and how we use them.
So today we're breaking down our favorite journals, our planner setups, and what we're starting 2026 with.
Awesome. Let's jump in. So, first off, what is your 2026 planner? Let's start there.
All right. So this year, I'm not a big person for New Year's resolutions, but I do believe since planners naturally follow the calendar year, there's no better time to actually start using a planner than at the beginning of a new year. So I'm kind of doing a New Year's resolution with sticking with doing planners this year. I often started strong and then I'd fall back into using my digital planners for work calendars and things like that. But this year, I think I've solved part of my issue by having multiple planners. So why not go from 0 to 3 and have a theme for each one, or like a purpose for each one. So I'll grab my wild setup here to share.
I cannot wait to see what these three are.
Well, this first one might look familiar.
Oh, yes, I do know this one. Okay, I'm very
Yes.
excited for you to have that.
This is the Hobonichi Weeks Planner, and you were kind enough to get me one of these last year, which I have confessed to you I did not use fully. I think a lot of folks have seen or heard about Hobonichi. It seems to have a pretty good cult following. Absolutely loved it. Again, just failed on the execution last year. So what we're going to do different this year is use this one, since it's nice and compact, as my one I throw in my purse and my bag, travel with, and becomes more of like my, like what I'm doing sort of thing. So tasks, appointments, trips, that's going to live in this guy since he's easy to carry around. The other thing I did early on, and we can come back to it, is I tested out some highlighters and pens because I found last year I was struggling to find what worked well on the paper, and then just didn't sit down to figure out what I wanted my setup to be. So
That's a really common thing that I hear from individuals. I personally don't mind ghosting. Now, I do not like bleeding. And so, you have to be careful with fountain pens and, like you said, some highlighters. Ghosting to me is okay, but there are definitely ones that are better for it. So I look forward to hearing, what you found to be the best.
yes, I'm happy to share if we have time in this episode, or we might have to do a whole nother episode.
It might be. Okay, so that's planner one. What's number two?
Planner number 2, this one I could not keep my hands off of because I really like Kikuyo. As you know, I've stumbled upon a few other things this year, and this one was really cool because it has essentially like a traveler's notebook style setup where there's 3 different notebooks in here. One is called Life, and then this one gets into the actual, like a thicker planner book, and then there's a third book called Idea.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it just seemed really handy to have it all together because I do struggle to, like, I don't know, I have a random idea. I want to write it down somewhere and I want to get away from just using my notes app. So this one, I think I'll probably still carry with me a lot, but it will be the more detailed one where I'm talking about like what we're doing for building out everything journals, some of the more creative ideas, and like kind of like think of it as like my entrepreneurial business planner.
Well, I really like that that one has a built-in strap to it. I'm only seeing pieces of it. Now, you did show me it when you bought it, but it was all packaged up, so I didn't get to see the inside. So I'm excited to see the way that it breaks it down. How is it though bound? Is it individual like the traveler's notebook, or are they sewn in? I couldn't tell.
It's really interesting because I took it out to put some stickers on. So this orange section here is actually just like a sheet of paper. I don't even know if I'm supposed to keep it in, to be honest, but I liked that said 2026. So I put the stickers on that. This is a clear, kind of a frosted plastic cover. And then the notebooks, it's similar to Travelers, but different because like the Life one is actually a separate notebook that tucks into this little folder part here, but
Okay.
it's within that larger notebook. So you see this cover is the large,
Sure.
and then this tucks into the front cover, and then the ideas one tucks into the back cover. So it's kind of like that, and then they both go into a whoops, they both go into a little flap in the back. The one cool thing though, this is like a page protector ruler and it slides into a little pocket on the outside of the back, and that's where the strap is attached to.
Oh, handy. And that all came together. You didn't
Together.
buy it
Yeah.
separately. I actually like that. Now, question, does it lay flat? Like, because, something I've struggled with, and we'll get into that more, but the traveler's notebook, because it is multiple in there. Well, you
It's
just
pretty
answer my
sharp.
question right away. Yeah, that lays pretty flat. Okay. Well, you've
They
intrigued me. Now, I am set on my planners that you will see, but I'm intrigued by this one.
Yeah, it's I don't know, we'll see how it works. Again, and the idea of a planner for me is often great. I feel like I'm buying hope. And so, yeah,
Hopes and dreams,
yep,
all
hopes
in a
and dreams.
little book.
It's gonna fix my life. I'll be
It
so
will.
organized, but have to actually use it. The third one I got, which I'll post on socials or something, but it's a flow. So like the folks who make those paper books with cool different papers and stickers, everything. I think it's the same.
Oh, yeah.
Flow made a planner and it's more of a daily one. And so my thought was that I want to focus on creating this year, like getting into being crafty. It could be spreads, it could be making the journals and all that kind of stuff. And even like take a picture each day of what I created. So it could be a sentence, like maybe I just came up with a phrase or sentence. I wanted to write something, but that flow one, because it is like a little bit, I don't know, softer, not as like detailed of a planner type. That was my idea for that one. And then I'll have kind of a track of like, what did I create and get crafty with in 2026.
Oh, I like that. I like having them separate. I've historically kept it all together, but you're right. Like, it's almost like a mind shift. Instead of like pulling out your work planner and now you're going to put something creative in it, it's hard to switch those gears. So I like that you're breaking it up this year. I think that'll be a great way to just change the mindset with whichever one you have out and be very intentional about what you're doing in them.
Yeah, yeah, I hope it works. I think the biggest hurdle for me now is to figure out how I'm gonna work them into each day. That's where I always got stuck because 'cause I'll, like, think about, like, "Oh, I should put that in the planner," and then I don't have it with me, and I don't put it in the planner. Then I get to the end of the day, and I'm like, "Why am I gonna do my planner at the end of the day?" So
I will tell you though that back planning is a thing, and it
mhm,
is very therapeutic actually to, we talked about junk journaling or everything journals in the first and second episode, but you're doing that as a reflection of your day, right? So I have found, because I hate empty pages, so it's more of, kind of that out of that issue. But I have found that rewriting what I did for the day and almost even adding little thoughts or little things that maybe I wanted to do different, it served as somewhat of a reflection. And I didn't find it to be, pointless and just writing a list of what I did. So if you find yourself in that position, because there will be days that you are there and you forgot or you didn't do it, maybe try more of a reflection of the day as opposed to let me plan that day. I don't know. Something to try. It's something I do like doing. And then I don't have the blank page to annoy me. And it was kind of a therapeutic moment.
yeah. No, that's a really good idea. It never hurts, and then if I do at least sit down to reflect, I can take a minute or 2 to naturally think about the next day and get the next one done too. I'm using the one that you got me for 25. It has become my test, so that's been the cool thing to
Good.
still because it pains me not to put it to good use. So this is where I actually did the, journal and pen tests and a bunch of things. I'm losing the paper now, but this will be my prototype guy. And then you can have, fails. I tried all the ink and highlighter combos, did smudge tests, and figured out what's going to work. So that's what this guy is. He's my test lab.
That's perfect. I mean, hey, some people buy the separate Hobonichi notebooks and things to do that in, so works perfect for that. Now, I will say, and I haven't tested it yet, so you'll have to let me know if you find this. People were saying that the Hobonichi paper in the 2026 is slightly different and improved from the past year because they took note of people saying that the ghosting and things were an issue. And so it's supposed to be slightly thicker. Now, again, this is just what I'm hearing on other people's videos, different things that I heard online. I don't really know because I actually haven't set mine down side by side to test them. But since you are using that as a tester, it'll be interesting to see if you find your new one to be slightly thicker paper.
Okay, this is a very unscientific approach, but literally going back and forth to feel the papers right now. And I think I don't know if it's a placebo effect because you said it now, but it honestly it does feel like these might be a little bit thicker. This feels very thin, and this one it's not that this is super thick, but it doesn't feel quite as like almost tissue papery. So it could, I don't know, I'll test out the pens and see because I haven't started writing in this one yet. But it does at first blush feel a little bit thicker now that you mention it.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to keep a pulse on that because I do know other people have asked me to, and I'm like, oh, I haven't really, because I wanted to finish my 2025 one. I didn't start my 2026 as a December start. So I did add some pictures and things like that. I'll show you it, but so I haven't done a full test of the differences. So definitely keep us posted on what you find.
Will do. Will do. Now I want to hear about your setup. You're the pro.
I feel like every year is a little bit of a trial, but I did find myself consistent with a planner last year, so I stuck with that one this year, but I also did scrap one and added in a new one. So let me show you my go-to. I can't see myself switching from this, although I always say you never know with stuff that comes out, but I'm sticking with the Hobonichi Weeks for 2026. I got I think it's a strawberry milk, my favorite color ever. So I'm so excited that they made it in this color. I added some fun to it, of course. These are hot press iron on. They're patches, but they're almost like a sticker consistency. But I, of course, already did some fun decorating. I went with the strawberry milk theme because that's what it's called. So I probably leaned in a little too heavy, but also in
Well,
my defense, can you go too much pink? I don't think so, but I have a little strap here in the back. So most of this I carried over from my 2025 planner. So I have a clear plastic cover on here. I just reused the one from last year. I have this strap closure board, and this is from my last year one too. This just goes right into the cover pocket. So it comes out and then goes right back in. I'm not good with doing it on the camera, but and then it holds my planner shut.
mhm.
So that's what that is. And then so far, because I didn't start in December, I've only done a few things in it. But what I am going to do this year is do a photo a day on the
Mm.
month pages. So there's a creator I really like. Most of you probably know her. It's Happy Olive Studio. She provides free Canva templates that she created for specifically the Hobonichi weeks, and she has some other sizes, but for a photo a day. So the sizing is just right. You just plop it into the Canva template, print it, and then you can put it in here. So I did that for December just so I have that one done. And I'm going to do that for every month in the weeks, or I'm sorry, in the month page. I just think it'll be a fun way to look back, reflect. And what I found last year is I didn't fill these pages very much because I felt like it was a duplication of what I was doing further back in the book. So I didn't need it as much. So I'll use it more as a fun creative outlet instead.
So those templates, did you print all those pictures at once, then you cut them apart and glue them in?
I actually printed these on sticker paper. So it's a glossy, I have an inkjet, so it's a glossy inkjet sticker paper. And then, yes, I did cut them based off her template. If you have a Cricut or a Caesar Juliet, anything like that, like a sticker cutter, you could then put this template into there and have it cut it for you. But even still, you still have to, pull off each one. Now,
Okay.
one thing I am going to do with her template, but I wanted to give her credit for this template. For myself in following weeks, I'm going to take out, there's a gap in her template for each one just to make my life easier. I'm going to remove that gap and just make it so that each photo butts up next to each other so I can just pull out one strip and it
Mhm.
will be the photo just for less cutting purposes for my hands because I'm lazy.
Good idea.
Yes. So that definitely check her out. She's great and she's so kind to give that free template so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then I did a little initial spread on my first week leading into January. But I like to add some decoration, but otherwise this planner, and I'm going off on tangents because I love planners, but this planner is primarily for work and just day-to-day things that I have to do for family business. My husband has a podcast, we have a podcast, there's just different things that fall into quote unquote business, but also some fun. That's why, of course, she looks fun as well. But that will all go in here. So lists of things that I have to do, upcoming things, meetings, maybe even notes from those meetings if I have extra space in the notes section. But that is this planner. So
Love it.
Hobonichi Weeks, love it. Comes everywhere with me. Like you said, you could just throw it in your purse. Now, last year I used the Hobonichi Cousin in an A5. And I found myself mid towards middle end of the year falling off of using it because I felt like it was a heavy duplication of my week's planner. So I'm going to reuse that for something else, maybe like you are as a test for paper, but also I've seen other people use it for a junk journal. So I might use it because I do have a good amount of it used, but I hate to see some of it go to waste. So I might do that. So I let go of the Hobonichi Cousin, simply too big for me, too much to write, and it was very structured as far as days. Instead, I went with the Hobonichi Techo Day Free smaller. Is this an A6? It's the small, like size of my hand.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I always forget which way it goes. It's
I
gotta
think
be.
it's
A4
I think
is
it's
large.
A6, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and this one is going to be more of a kind of commonplace journal for me. So I when I first bought this, I had a different purpose for it. So some might be like, well, why'd you buy a planner for kind of a commonplace thing? I had a different plan originally, so bear with me as I shift gears even as we start the year. But this is going to be where I write different lists, things I want to research, ideas. I'm also going to use it for a book journal. So my
Oh,
reading, little reviews, and you can tell I like to make things pretty, but also movie reviews. It's going to be just a catch all for a bunch of different fun things that I want all in one place. And it also went very small so that it can travel with me. I can take it wherever I want. It will just all be in one spot. And because it is a day free, it's still, the clear no dates, but it keeps me somewhat structured to kind of see where I am through the year and how much I have left and things like that. So I think it'll be a good use for that. And then I just put a Midori cover on the top. So this is one of their kind of it was only I think like $5. It's like a paper material, but it covers right over it. It fit perfectly. It's just for a Midori notebook, but it fit perfect on my Hobonichi. So that's the cover for that one.
it's adorable. It made it pink too.
Well, I mean, we're going with a theme this year, so I had to I was gonna get clear, but I was like, no, we're going all in on the pink. But I
Mhm.
did also decorate the cover just for fun because I had more of this same pack of the hot dang press. And I was like, the blue matches, it's perfect. So I did decorate it even though I covered it, but that was just for a fun evening activity for myself. But so
Adorable.
for now, those are my only two 2026 planners
I
and
like
how
it.
I'll use them.
I love what with the commonplace, you were actually reminding me of one of the intents. See, I should write down what I'm using my planners for, but one of the intents with the ideas, I think there could be, and we'll have to test it this year, kind of a magic to a commonplace planner style. Because my fear, I've never used a commonplace one before, but stumbled upon kind of the concept in 25 and wanted to adopt it. Keeping everything organized, because it is meant to be a catch-all for all these things you come across, read, hear, wanna note down. I have no idea how to organize it in a way that I can find it again. Some people will create, like, a table of contents, but I think my mind will work like, "Oh, there was something, like, earlier this year I came across." Like, time will work better for me than a table of contents, and so I like the idea of a really unstructured planner to be that place that you can capture it all.
Yeah, I think so. And I think for me, that'll work well because otherwise, what I found was I was writing it in different notebooks, whatever was handy in the moment. And so my little lists, my things are in all different places, or I would put it in my notes app. And it was just not, you kind of forget about it. So if it was something you were interested in or you wanted to research, you put it in the notes and now it's gone for some reason. And so I hope that because this planner I'll pull out on a regular basis and you kind of do a flip through because it feels good, you're going to re-spark some of the things that you took note of or wanted to do and then, commit yourself a little bit more to doing them. That's the
Mhm.
hope. I haven't done it before, but that's my goal with it.
I love that. We'll have to do, like, maybe a quarterly or at least mid-year check-in on how we're doing with everything and what we've shifted, changed, kept, stopped, and all the above.
Yeah. No, and I will say, I think for anyone even listening, something I've taken away over the years, it's okay to shift. It doesn't mean like it was a failure in what you bought or what you determined to do at the beginning of the year, because what you thought might work, if you found mid year it isn't, shift gears, change it again. Like, I get that it feels like you didn't follow your plan, but as long as you didn't give up completely, you're determined to try a new way. I would say that's super valuable because you're getting closer to what truly is your way. And it's
Mhm.
the same for journaling, same for planners. I feel like until you find your way, trial all the products, make your own product. You've done that, you've made your own planner. So just do that until you find the one. And like for me, this one worked great last year. I'm going to use it again this year. And I hope it continues to serve that purpose. But I think we all get stuck in this is how we're doing it. I got to be committed. If the shoe doesn't fit, stop wearing it. Like, let it go. Try something new. That's one thing that I take away from last year with my Hobonichi cousin because I felt like I wasted it, but I didn't. I learned and pivoted and changed.
Well, I like the point you made about how, and some you may not be able to do it, but for many you could repurpose it, especially because we are into, everything journals, junk journaling. A lot of the planners, notebooks you try could easily become a junk journal because you're just going to, paste over the paper anyway, or you could paste two pages together if it's really thin paper. If you get a spiral bound kind of like notebook or planner that doesn't work, that would be a little bit tougher. But there's a lot of ways you could repurpose so you don't feel like you failed or make it your like test laboratory. That's what we're
Hmm.
doing with this guy.
It's true because there are so many pens to test out. And if you're anything like me, I love a new pen, but you don't always know if it works great and you don't want to ruin a page. So, hey, having a backup tester, I'm for it. That might be what I use my cousin for. So I like
Yeah.
it.
Well, since we're on this topic, I think it's a great segue for those who tuned in to our last episode. We left off saying, "Hey, next time let's talk about the journals we're using." We had shared the idea of like, "Hey, what's your kind of foundational base setup?" And we felt like journals needed their own little extra episode. So, along with planners, I thought it would be awesome if we shared what we're using for our junk journals this year, or maybe what you started last year if you're continuing into this year, and what your favorites have been or will be.
Yeah, for sure. So I did pull out a few of my 2025 journals. So I'll share those briefly and then I'll share what I'm going into for 2026 because it is, well, some of it's the same, some of it's a little bit different. And I've learned a few things about some of them. So the first one that I want to show is this moleskin. I actually use this as a swap journal. It's very full, mostly because, you're using what people send you as opposed to necessarily junk. I wanted to show this one because early on, you see, I didn't use the majority of this. Now I should have glued some pages together, but it started pulling from the spine very quickly and coming apart. Kind of determined this year I'm not going to spend money on a moleskin journal anymore, although they are soft cover. I know a lot of people they worked really well for. That was something that I took away from this one. So I just wanted to note it. If you're out in the market looking for one, these can be fairly pricey. I did get it at an Office Max closing, so it was like 80% off, but I was like, "Oh, it's perfect to try." But just note that, the spine may not be super strong on this one. Something I noted and learned from the trial of that last year. Now, another one that I tried is actually one that you made. And I will say the reason I'm sharing this one is because what I did take away is that I loved using a smaller, specific journal for a specific reason. So we went to New Orleans and I wanted that junk journal to be separate. And so I used one that you made, and this it was very small. It's just a cardboard cover, which means it was flexible. You can see that it expanded well for the purpose. So just something to note if you do have a trip or something like that going on, grab a small little notebook. It doesn't have to be anything I mean, yours is very fancy. Don't get me wrong. But
No.
it can be a like softer cover. It doesn't have to be super reliable because you're not putting it through the ringer over a few months. It's literally for one trip. So that's something I'll probably continue doing so that my trips are separate if it's a longer trip and easy to look back on.
Can I jump just because on
Yes.
that topic? Do you mind if I share? I did something similar for our New Orleans trip and tested out one I did not make, but it was one we found on the trip, which was like my goal. I wanted to have one from New Orleans to
Oh, yeah.
use that was in our notebook. And just like the one that I made for you, this one is like it's saddle stapled, not saddle stitched.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say it's the end of the world whether it's stitched or stapled, but one thing to be aware of for anyone who is using a saddle stapled, so it means they just stapled through the middle and the pages are essentially folded together. If you rip out a page because you're trying to manage the bulk, make sure the page on the back side comes out too, or it can fall out on you later. So just
Mhm.
try it. Same thing, honestly, actually, if you have it sewn in, I just tend to take out from the front and the back so it's even, or you could glue pages together and that'll work. But I think if you're going for saddle stitch, like traveler's notebooks are that way or saddle stapled, thinner is gonna work. Otherwise, it's gonna end up being like your moleskin and it's gonna just expand in the front and then you're too lopsided to even use the back of it.
Mhm.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a great tip. And it's something I didn't think about taking it out. I do typically glue mine, but what I have found over time is that glue doesn't always keep it fully done, especially if on the corners it wasn't fully glued and you accidentally pull it. So I do like the idea of removing it. So it's good to know, pull it from each end. So I'll definitely do that. But yes, so a smaller travel journal, I think that's a great way to go. You can bring it with you. It's not your main one. You're not worried about that getting damaged. So it's cool that we both kind of found that same thing this year. So I'll be doing that again. The other thing that I will be doing again, not right away, but throughout the year at some point, is making my own sort of junk journal. So this
Oh,
is
yeah.
made from paper bags. And so it is a full junk journal. I also, what I put in it was only junk from the day. So I tried to keep true to its integrity, the fact that it's made of junk. Now, I know you'll see stuff on it that you wouldn't consider junk, but I added stuff from the trips that I collected within this. So I went to Chicago. I did different Yelp events, things that you either get stuff for free or you collected like a dollar, postcard. I wanted to decorate the cover with that. So, although maybe not typical junk, these stickers were free from an event that I went to for Yelp. So, I just thought that was a good way to kind of honor and decorate the cover. Everything in it is all junk, there's no extras. So, I will be trying that again because I loved the size. This is a full paper bag size. So, I really like the size. And I just thought it was fun to challenge myself to stick with just the junk, trying to be creative with it and see what I can create. So I'll try that again, making it from paper bags in 2026. But I thought it was a fun way. Or if anyone else has ideas of how to make a junk journal from just junk, drop it in the comments. Let me know because I like to try new things as well. So if there's another cool junk journal to make that is slightly easy, I am not like you, Steph, where you can have this detail and technicality. I'm not sewing things together. Uh, it's got to be able to be glued.
Glue.
But let me know if you have an easy junk journal to make.
Well, personally, if I could put a vote out there, because it looks very complex to me, how you made that paper bag journal. Since we've got a shameless plug for folks listening, we've set up our Patreon to capture videos, articles we'll put together, quick tutorials, and making a lot of our content free for folks. We're setting up the paid option to go a little bit deeper, but if you're down to make a tutorial for that, Tara, I'll need it because I cannot tell how you put that thing together.
Done.
Very well.
Consider it done. Yes. Yes, I will. Because it's super easy. I think it's great for anyone just getting into junk journaling too, or those who do like to just use a junk journal and not buy one. It worked so well. So yeah, definitely we'll get a video.
Awesome.
Okay, so what did you find outside of the one you shared from New Orleans in 2025 that worked well or didn't work, or, what are you bringing into 2026?
Yeah, so I'm bringing in one I did not finish yet. So we're going to just see how long this puppy lasts me, but I went and got myself a very large lectern. I don't know, I saw the size and was
Mm.
like, one's going to be super fun. Obviously, went to town on the stickers and I've enjoyed the real estate available on this. Like it just has worked super well for finding like, a big bag or something that becomes the background. And I've managed to keep to mostly junk in each of the spreads. There's some exceptions where book lovers, please forgive me for this because I know this is desecrating a book, but I'm always ruining my dust covers. And so I have taken to creating spreads about the books I read so I remember them better. And I will actually use a dust cover and some cool paper for that, maybe some notes about what was in the book. So this one is maybe halfway filled. So this will definitely be coming into the year with me. I tend to keep it at home because these stickers are a little bit fragile. They have like beads on them. And just due to the size, this is one I'll like collect junk and bring it home for and then sit down and do a spread. I have glued pages together to manage the chunk. I want chunk, but I'm scared of what's happening with the spine already. So we'll let me show you this side actually. A lot of people use the lecterns, so I have a feeling it'll hold together okay. And my hunch for anyone who really likes to nerd out on the structure is each signature is pretty small. There's not a lot of papers. So the pressure in each spine for each little signature, I think of it like the mini book, is there's multiple pressure points. So it's not all on one lump side in the front or in the back. So that's why I think these tend to work well, but we're going to test it. This is my first lectern that I'll be filling up.
I will say, just on that note, you convinced me by that one. And you already know this, but in New Orleans, they had that same color, the same size in one of the stores that we went to. And so I snagged it and I'm definitely going to try it. I don't have mine with me, but I'm going to try it in 2026 just because you sold it so well. I love watching your videos on TikTok that you post about it. And so I'm definitely going to give that one a try. And I will
Yeah.
say that brand of journal, that's another reason I was so easily swayed. That is my favorite kind of everything journal. I know there's some controversy of calling it a junk journal if you bought it. I'll call it an everything journal for that purpose, but I do love it because it does seem to expand far better than like the moleskin that I showed you. Now you do have to be careful because we're shoving a lot in them, but I will say they last well. So hopefully with this larger one, you continue to find the same.
Yeah, I hope so. It's holding up really well. I love their colors. I did get a smaller yellow one this year to do as the next version, but what I've committed to filling up in 26, I'm going to start it today, is one I've made. And you've seen this
I'm so excited for this.
last year. Just set it up before I show it. Last year, I told Tara I had this crazy idea of repurposing purses that are thrifted, given to me, procured in some way, shape, or form, and making that a journal. And I didn't describe my vision very well because I honestly wasn't sure exactly how it was going to work out. But I stumbled upon almost like the perfect purse structure for this first concept. And it ends up looking like different than I even expected. There's some really cool benefits to it where I deconstructed the purse sides and sewed in paper. And then the front, I added a cute little pin. I cut the handles off because this was my first prototype. I actually wish I left them on, so I'll be doing that in future versions. But what I was really excited about is it actually sits on the desk like a purse. Like it's
That's
just
so good.
wouldn't even
Show
know.
show us the back stitch.
So this I'm not super proud of because it's not uniform. Unfortunately, it
I
was a
mean, look
cream
at that
color.
work though. You talk about uniform. Like how long did this take you?
Oh god. It was definitely like 6 or 7 hours just between folding. So the first step is I had all this paper from trial and error with journals that was really paining me of like what to do with it. And fortunately, a bunch of them ended up being the perfect size to fit in the purse. So I actually I'm going the wrong way. I had like an old notebook too that I wasn't going to do anything with, so I cut it down. But all these are like random junk papers that I had. So I folded them up to make these signatures, and each one has to get sewn in individually. And this structure I actually learned from my very first junk journal right behind me here that I completed last year. It was a handmade one from Vietnam. They sewed in the paper signatures like this into the leather cover, and it expanded so well. Like, if you let me grab it to show you. I did remove some papers along the way, so that helped, but it just see how that expands and
Oh, yeah.
holds wonderfully?
That's
And
great.
they did something similar. Now their stitches are much nicer than mine, but I kind of deconstructed this guy and took that concept to what I'm calling the paper purse style. So we're going to fill that guy up since he's so thick. I think that's going to take me a fair amount of time to get through this puppy. And
There are
I took,
so many pages in there. That is gonna be so fun to fill and watch it continue to grow. And I love the concept of the repurposed purse with the repurposed paper. It's just it's a great story, and I think the not perfect stitching on the back adds to the charm. I wouldn't even notice it's not perfect, you're just being hard on yourself. Again, I said if it can't be glued, I can't do it, so I definitely need one of those in my 2026 lineup. So I'm gonna be harassing you until I get it.
yeah, well, I was excited the response because I posted this on TikTok and YouTube, like just all over the accounts. Reddit was surprising, actually. People, the upvotes and people's interest in a tutorial purchasing one. So I have now a haul from Goodwill and a specific purse in mind for you that I will not show you until it's completed. But running with other ideas, like there's I'm not going to spoil it, but I have some really cool ideas for how to do a closure for these, especially when they're expanded, and then some little ads to run with the purse theme, but give ads that actually like embrace the this becoming the journal. So I want to test those things out. I have all the supplies. It's just taking some time to use it.
I can't wait. No, that's awesome. That's a super exciting one to go into 2026 with. So thank you for
Thanks.
sharing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
we'll see how it works. I do find it fun to your point of making your own. Like the ones you buy are great, especially if you buy them on location. But I have really enjoyed trying out making your own to it. It gives it an extra like it's extra special, basically.
Yeah. Well, here we go with my basicness following that. Okay. So I'm going to show you what I'm going into 2026 with in all my shame. Actually, I already showed it a little bit. You know, we're a little basic over here.
They're sleek, simple. They let the junk do the speaking. It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I started this type of journal probably a year or so. So I have the reason I stick with it is A, it expands well, but also I like the way it looks now on my shelf. So it's become like a rainbow effect of the same size, different colors, but the same layout. So this is always in the mix somehow for me. But as you saw from last year, I do switch it up a lot. I'm sure this year it will be a lot of beautiful ones that you've made me so I don't feel like a basic bee anymore. But I'm okay with this for now. Still love this one, Old Faithful. Okay. Now there are a few.
I was gonna
What?
ask you
Oh yeah,
how you picked that color because that does not seem like a
it's
color you would
terrible.
normally use.
It's terrible. I'm not gonna lie. Hate the color, but it was next in line. I committed to going through the colors, and you'll decorate the cover with stickers, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fine. That's what I tell myself, but that's what the orange is for. I put that one off long enough. Now I have to do it. So now there there are a few others I'm going into 2026 with, more as like trials.
Mm,
So let me grab it. So on TikTok and Instagram, I've seen a lot of mini journals, and I've never done a really small one. And I just thought it would be fun and cute. So I was actually at TJ Maxx a couple of weeks ago and came across, and let me just say, I know that I just talked negatively about this brand, that I may not use it, but the mini journal, I'm going to be putting less in it. And I was actually surprised to find this at a TJ Maxx. Now it's not open yet, and you probably can't read it, but it says moleskin.
okay.
So it's a mini, look at the size of my hand. It's
Yeah.
a mini moleskin journal, and I haven't opened it yet because, well, I have to make it theatrical and do it in a video, all the things. But anyways, this is supposed to be the cover. Yeah, it's tiny, tiny, tiny. And it's supposed to be their silk collection. So it's specialty collection. It is supposed to be this one, it looks blank inside, which I love a blank journal. So it hit a lot of areas that I like for my junk journals. And because it's mini, I'm going to be saving it more for talking about purses, the bottom of my purse items. So
Mm.
the receipts, the movie tickets, the whatever is at the bottom at the end of the week that I didn't put in a spread, I will have a mini journal version of that. Again, just to try it out, see how it goes, try a mini journal, see how I like it. And I got it at TJ Maxx for less than normal. So that's why I'm going to try that one.
I love
Okay.
that. How thick is it? Is it like a
Okay. Should
pretty
I open it? I need to open it.
No,
Let's see.
don't you?
I'm going to open it. Okay, we have to know. All right, let's see. Okay, and they put it in such a fancy box. I had to try it. Ooh.
It's the
Okay,
beautiful
so that's the paper. So I got to be careful because now that's got to be like an entry page in here. Bear with me.
drum roll.
How cute. Okay, now let's take it out. It is a silk cover. It is very soft. Mine, it has this little strap. I'm so excited for that. Here's the back. Let's see the inside. Okay, pretty basic. Oh, it is blank, which I love for my junk journals. It is pretty I mean, maybe
Yeah.
half an inch. I mean, it's small. Oops.
It's the box that was throwing me off. I thought it looked like a mini, like, those 5-year diaries or something. It looked very thick.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it is pretty small. So I think it'll work well for that. I'm going to be gentle with it. It's such a pretty it actually says it's a silk cover. So I feel very fancy and official with it, although I'm putting garbage in it. They're treasures. They're my treasures. So,
Yeah.
anyways, TJ Maxx deal. I'm a sucker for a deal. We're going to try it. Not a full junk journal. So, now another thing that I found was actually a thrifted find. And you're going to see this and you're going to question my life choices, but I'm going to show it. Okay. Let me
Okay.
explain.
Okay.
This is a smash journal. Okay. And I know it goes against everything I've ever said. I hate spiral. I don't know what's happening inside. Okay. There's a lot happening in here. But let me share the reason I found this at Goodwill and decided to get it. When I started junk journaling, everyone kept commenting on my videos, oh, that was a smash journal, or that used to be that smash journal is how it started. And I was like, I've never heard of a smash journal at all. But apparently it was this brand. They came out with the concept of kind of putting junk into a journal of sorts. And so, although this one pains me, I don't think it's very cute. I just felt like it was only right to grab it from Goodwill for $3.99 and give it a shot. If they, put some backing behind this process, I have respect for them. I'm willing to try out the journal and see how it goes. And again, for me, I love just trying different ones. So that played into a part of this one and why I'll be trying it in 2026. So, Smash Journal, we're going to
Very
try.
cool. The
Yeah.
OG, the one that started it all. I feel like you have to at some point at least do one smash journal in your
I feel
collection.
like it. And I feel like Goodwill told me I had to. I
Mhm.
mean, you stumble across it, you've heard about it, and it's blank. Nobody else used it or loved it. So I feel like it found its right home. I'll give it some love. Doesn't mean it'll be my favorite, but we're going to try her out.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear. I like the cover. I saw that it kind of wraps around so the spiral
Yep.
is hidden.
Yep.
So
It is
that'll help
hidden.
put it together nicely. But I am curious when my first one was a spiral and the pages. Now, if you saw our first video, my confessional of taping everything on the page and it made them really heavy. So they ripped out. I wonder if they have like stronger paper or something that now we don't condemn spiral as a blanket statement anymore.
Maybe, but again, this is an old creation. It's not new. So it could just be outdated and not the right thing. And if I find that midway, like I talked about before, I'm okay to pivot. If I do a few
Mm,
spreads and I hate it, we're pivoting. It was $3.99. It's fine. But I will say the paper is a heavy cardstock. So What they
Okay.
put in here is almost like the cardstock that you would buy from a Michael's
Right.
cardstock book, those decorative paper books. So
Yep.
for that, I think it will hold up for the papers well. Now, the issue is obviously the expansion. I'm not sure that it will work well. So I'm going to have to be delicate with it. This outer part does come off. So I'm going to take that off now because it makes it look even uglier with the images. Okay, so here it is without it. I'll probably put some stickers. It does have a like a peace sign and hearts like in the cardboard, but you can't, it's just like, I don't know if you can see it now, but it's
Yeah.
just kind of like embedded in. It has a little pen holder and then the back is just plain, no design or anything. So perfect for customizing.
Hmm.
But anyways, we're going to give it a try. We're going to be open-minded and see how it goes. So that's my 2026 starter lineup. I obviously probably will grow and expand from there.
I love it. Well, maybe just to recap, for the folks who are getting into creative journaling, everything journaling, junk journaling, whatever you choose to call it, I'd say a couple things we learned, and so it's what we look for in the journals, is definitely soft cover. That's going to be key. Hardcover can be really hard, and that's when you hear about people breaking the spines. Definitely look for something that has either it's a thin notebook like what we showed with the smaller notebooks, or that has multiple signatures, so multiple little books that are sewn together to create the larger book that will be able to handle the pressure because there's multiple pressure points better. We're going to hold out our judgment on spiral bound. Typically those don't work super well because of
I think
expansion
we
of.
already know. Okay, I'm breaking some rules here. You can tell me that it was a bad choice. But if Goodwill told me, I feel like I have to just try.
Yes, well, that's what started it all. Like, it just feels poetic. It needs to happen, and we can see how the journals have evolved over time.
Yes.
And then, you can certainly try making your own if you don't find something in the store. I mean, you could literally, like, shameless plug for old planners because we're getting into the months where people didn't buy the 2026 versions. Since you're gluing over it, I have started to not care as much about what's on the paper. Like that purple, the giant purple one is lined, and I don't love lined paper, but I paste over it anyway. So if you're looking to start inexpensively, a lot of planners are going to be going on super sale. You put stickers over it, nobody knows what it is. Like you could give those a try too, and a lot of them are soft cover, nice paper. So those would be kind of my points to recap. But anything else I missed that you'd point out?
No, I think you're spot on. I know you saw I broke some of the rules going into this year, but definitely if you're starting out, either grab a notebook from home, use the one you already have just to test it out. But like you said, go soft cover and I think it'll expand well for you that way. Whether it has a closure or not, I think that's less important if you're just starting out, but I do like it. So if you're looking to purchase one, I would say look for a closure so that it keeps it closed throughout. It just gives it a little added protection. But as always, have fun with it. If you found another journal that we don't like and we said we don't like, but you love it and found a way to make it work, like let us know how you made it work because it's probably user error and we could probably do it different and then it would work great. So share in the comments if you have a favorite layout or type of journal that we ragged on or that we haven't used yet because we love to try them.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I think that covered a good amount today. We talked about all things planners, all things journals. So our next episode, we're going to be talking about events that we're excited about in 2026, whether that be in-person meetups, things happening locally. Tara has done a great job combing through everything in the planner and stationery and journal communities. So we'll be covering that up next, as well as talking a little bit more about where we visited, where we're going to be heading for the rest of the year. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.
Until then, happy journaling.